While most players are exploring the standard metagame since Boomsday's launch, Tempo Storm's Wild Hearthstone team has seen some crazy things since this set has been released. Since Wild has a much larger card pool, you'd think the value of each new card released should be less impactful in Wild as opposed to Standard. However, there are certain situations where cards synergize more with older legacy cards and actually become more impactful in Wild than in Standard. In this video, we'll take a look at how 5 of these cards from the Boomsday expansion have made an especially strong impression in the Wild format. Number 5, Explodinator. This card may seem unusual in a list of meta-defining cards, as there are others that stand out with crazier effects. However, the best part of Explodinator is its ability to generate 3 minions with a single card. This was widely undervalued throughout card reviews, because most people compared it to Grim Necromancer. However, the Goblin Bombs having 0 attack, 2 health, and the mech tag is significant. Your opponent can't remove them without damaging themselves, and in aggressive decks the 4 direct face damage is impactful. There are 2 reasons why this card is stronger in Wild than Standard, and the first is universal to all mechs this expansion, which is Mech Warper. Mech Warper is an auto-include in every mech deck, and even pivots the builds of Wild mech decks to be more aggressive than their Standard counterparts due to its pure aggressive strength. This puts solid mid-range cards like Explodinator in a more powerful position, as they're more likely to hit the board earlier, leaving your controlling opponent with less opportunity to clear the board. Besides its obvious synergy with Mech Warper, this card is supercharged by Metaltooth Leaper and Hunter, which takes advantage of the 3 bodies put on board and the likelihood that your opponent may ignore the O2 minions because they aren't threatening by themselves. This card's underlying power with the O2 bodies has very strong synergies in Hunter, so much so that the card has even slipped into some builds of Egg Hunter. Due to the mech synergies and extra aggressive cards in Hunter, Explodinator has found a home in successful Wild decks. Number 4, Prismatic Lens. Prismatic Lens is obviously a strong effect, but it doesn't seem that Standard has been refined enough for the card to be featured in a powerful meta deck. While there may be a niche meme deck that plays this card with Dino Size in Standard, in Wild there are much more powerful spells, and this card can take advantage of the ability to make them cheaper and cheat them out earlier. Prismatic Lens combos incredibly well with Anything Can Happen combo Paladin. There have been builds in the past which ran Spiteful Summoner, a bunch of draw, the powerful Murloc combo, and the expensive 10 mana Anything Can Happen card. Using this build with Prismatic Lens instead of a Spiteful Summoner results in your Anything Can Happen being reduced from 10 mana down to around 1 to 6 mana. Having the card cost less than 10 is an insane tempo swing and often game winning. Being able to play this card for a lower cost results in you not caring about the minion costing 10 mana, as most of the time if you're able to play Anything, you just win the game. Players have been running Dino Size and Call to Arms alongside Prismatic Lens, and that alone might be good enough for the card to see play in Standard, but in Wild, this card is an archetype reviving card. Number 3, Flukes Glorious Gloop. If you're not a Wild player, you may not have valued Flukes Glorious Gloop as a super strong card, as the only deck it fits into in Standard is Token Druid. However, when looking at the Wild format, there's one card that's run by most forms of controlling druids as a form of removal: Poison Seeds. This card's already being run in controlling druid decks and elevates the strength of Flukes Gloop, as the ability to gain 1 mana per minion on board is bonkers against aggressive decks. You'll often see druid gain 6 extra mana on turns where Gloop is played, resulting in crazy turns like a turn 5 Poison Seeds into Spreading Plague, Malfurion, or even Ultimate Infestation. While not currently run in Star Aligner Druid, the new hot Wild combo deck, this card sees play in all other Druid decks as they look to stall the game out more, which involves the use of Poison Seeds. Number 2, Electra Storm Surge. Electra is a force to be reckoned with in Wild. With the ability for her to duplicate any spell that's played, you're able to ensure immense value when played. One of the key differences between Wild and Standard, however, is how well you can utilize her effect. As a control deck, you have much more flexibility when playing the card, because in Wild, you have both Maelstrom Portal and Devolve. This allows for more flexibility in your options as a Shaman player. You can make a mid-sized board clear for 5 mana when pressured by intense aggro, or you could be more greedy and go for an absolute full board clear on turn 8. As an aggro deck, there are extra burn spells in aggro Shaman like Crackle, and you're always happy getting extra burst from a Lightning Bolt or a Lava Burst. Obviously, Electro's effect works the same way in Standard, but she has a lot more options than Wild, and Shaman is just more popular in the format, with the ability to outpace Druid's armor gain as an aggro deck, or to interact with their combo using Ancestor's Call. Number 1. Juicy Psy Melon. Psy Melon is probably one of the more obvious cards when players were thinking about what would be strong in Wild before the set came out, based around the Druid class's access to Aviana and Kun. It was theory crafted before the expansion that you could pull the entire Togwaggle combo of Aviana, Kun, Azalina Soul Thief, and the big guy himself to permanently swap decks with your opponent. This deck was already strong last expansion, and this card's power level increased the viability of the deck. After the first few days of play, this deck seems like the deck to beat in Wild. However, the card has been so strong that a brand new Druid combo archetype is formed around it using Star Aligner. Star Aligner Druid aims to kill your opponent with Aviana, Kun, an 8 mana 7 health minion, and Star Aligner. This deck plays cards like Ancient Brewmaster, Flukes, and Brand to allow for upwards of 42 damage played from this combo, which is all tutored by Psy Melon. This deck is much more consistent than Malygos Druid, as the full combo is pulled by Psy Melon, and you run so many redundant cards that Dirty Rat pulls aren't game-ending, because you can win the game from comboing off even if a minion gets pulled, unless your opponent pulls exactly Aviana. Psy Melon is super strong in Wild, just due to the fact that it can pull Aviana and Kun, and it shows, making what was considered a meme deck when theory crafting into something that has the potential to be the best card in the meta. These are our top 5 picks for the cards which are stronger in Wild than in Standard. What do you think? Leave a comment below if you agree with any of these cards, or if there were some that you thought we missed. Don't forget to leave a like and a follow, and as always, stay tuned for our next Tempo Storm Hearthstone video.